Pulse was one of the original operators released with Siege all the way back in 2015. Despite him receiving some changes throughout the years, he still has a relatively low pick rate. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to play Pulse and see if that low pick rate is really justified. With all that said, let's go ahead and start the video. Pulse is a 3-speed roamer that comes with an information gathering gadget. Canonically, the gadget is called the cardiac sensor, but I like to call it go fuck yourself if you try to go plant. By pulling away his guns, he can see attackers' heartbeats from a 13-meter radius. Once they're out of those meters, then you can no longer see them. However, you can see them further if Finka activates her boots because their hearts will beat faster. So little tip, if there's a pulse on the enemy team, don't bring Finka because you will actively screw your team over. Being a 3-speed, you're usually considered to be a roamer, and that's no exception for Pulse, so playing on site with him is not really good because you're not getting the most out of him. To truly understand Pulse, you need to understand the roles of a roamer. A roaming operator you will never see in sight unless it's the final moments and their anchors have died. Other than that, they are somewhere else in the map that you need to drone out. The main use of a roamer is to delay time, because most of the time, they're probably not even going to get a kill. And that's what people get mistaken. As a roamer, you do not have to get kills, you just have to waste a certain amount of time, which in my opinion is usually around a minute. Pair that with Pulse's information gadget, he can be a very strong roamer in the right hands, but there is a few caveats. And these issues you have to pay attention to when playing Pulse. The number one and main issue with Pulse is that you have to actively put away your gun in order to use your gadget, which for some operators is not that bad, but in Pulse's case, it can really be detrimental to him. The second issue with Pulse is that you have only 13 meters to see the attackers, which is not necessarily a big issue, that's why it's only number 2, but still, that can really hurt Pulse in some scenarios. The third issue, which might be a deal breaker for some players, is that the UMP-45 that Pulse has is one of the worst SMGs in the entire game. It has a low fire rate and admittedly low damage even after a extended barrel change, and that's because of the fire rate, and low magazine size, but however, it does have a 1.5 scope that Pulse can use, and low recoil, so take advantage of that. Now, some of you Siege veterans that are potentially watching this video are wondering why have I mentioned the C4 yet? Well, I was about to get to that, so thank you for asking. The only true secondary gadget you should be using on Pulse is the C4 for one good reason. As Pulse, with the cardiac sensor, if you see an attacker standing still, that means one of two things. That either means they're holding an angle, or that means they are planting a diffuser. So now that you can see them, you can see for them from below, but there is another way to do that. The second way of stopping the diffuser from below is using the M1014 shotgun. And I know that a lot of people say it's bad, but on Pulse, it's actually pretty good. And that's what you will see a lot of Pulse and even Solis players do, is run below the site, wait for them to try to plant the diffuser, and they will C4 or use their shotgun. It is by far Pulse's strongest aspect of his gadget, but like I said, Solis can do the same thing, so why bring Pulse? Another thing you can do with the gadget is assist your other roamers from below. Information is key in Siege after all, so use as much information as you can out of your gadget. That's pretty much all the objective information I can give about Pulse, and now I'm going to give you my opinion on him. Pulse can be used on certain sites, but Solis is just objectively better than him. In fact, Solis is just downright overpowered. She can not only stop the plant from below like Pulse, but she can also detect attackers' electronics and even detect attackers on their drones. And if you truly want to stop the plant, I would recommend bringing Echo or even Maestro for that. Pulse is so far out of the meta, it's not even funny, and it's honestly sad to say. And that's mainly because before Solis, people did actually pick Pulse a decent amount, but now that she's in the game, no one really picks him even more. Even though he got the 1.5 and with the extended barrel change to his UMP. And I'm going to say that's it for the video. If you like what I make, I appreciate it if you subscribe, and if you're interested in any other operators I have covered, I have a full playlist of them, so go check it out if you want to. Before that said, I'm Cutter Tony, I hope you have a good day or good night, and goodbye.